So what are we doing as a country about this problem, Aaron?
Yeah,
That
I
for every
think the
10 people
pandemic
leave,
was
one
interesting.
person's coming in.
Yeah, I think the pandemic was an interesting help actually, because I
Mhm.
think we started using the word as a country, the word essential, right? We were all hearing that on the news quite a bit. What's
Yeah.
essential workforce mean? And
Yeah,
it's
right.
interesting
Mhm.
how many blue collar, hands on jobs were. Oh yeah, we need these folks.
Yeah, all of a
This
sudden,
is pretty
right, yeah, the
important. So
epiphany. Yeah.
yeah, right, right.
Mhm.
It's much more important than we considered. So I think that was
Mhm.
helpful. I think we have a ton of people in the industry doing incredible work. I mean, the
Mhm.
biggest name I'd say is if you see Mike Rowe, the Dirty Jobs guy that
Mm.
had
Oh,
the
yeah.
TV show. He started the Mike
Sure.
Rowe
Yeah.
Foundation. He's on
Yep.
TV quite a bit talking about this problem. But then you've got people like, my friend Josh Zolan wrote a book called Blue is the New White, talking about blue
Mm.
collar is the new white collar. And this is the opportunity people are missing.
I
And so,
agree.
and of course, we do a bunch of work there too, in terms of, working with trade schools, unions, giving them the
Mhm.
tools. And I think that from our perspective, the technology side is building technology that meets the young technician where they are. So we talk
Mhm.
about, we have a TikTok attention span of a generation, right? Where everything is
Horrible.
14 seconds.
Yeah,
I know
right.
I need everything
Yeah.
quickly. And so,
Mhm.
for example, we built our tool to not say, hey, let's help you search YouTube videos or big pieces of content.
Mhm.
Let me give you a 15-second clip about this problem in the moment of need, because this is how you're used to consuming content and interacting with
Mhm.
things as a
Mhm.
consumer.
Yeah.
And so, really cool tools like that. My friend Doug, who runs Interplay Learning, is doing some really cool things with VR where you can be
Mhm.
immersed into a training environment
Oh,
right before
very
you get in the
great.
field,
Sure.
which is really cool. So there's a
Yeah.
bunch of people doing
Mhm.
awesome things for skilled trades. It's a problem that's not going away. It's getting
Yeah.
worse. The supply chains
Mhm.
exacerbated this because supply chain's a
Mhm.
massive issue too. So at the end of the day, we believe that big companies that win in this space, whether they're OEMs, distributors, contractors, mom and pops, will realize this. Earning
Yeah.
technician trust earns market
Mhm.
share. So
Yeah.
my ability to serve that person in the field effectively and earn their trust with good tools, good technology, good information, this is how I win as a business. I can no
Mhm.
longer ignore that guy or gal out in the field kind of doing their
Mhm.
thing if I
Mm.
want to succeed. And I think a lot of companies are looking to solve that problem.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. So you founded the company in 2013. You just closed your D round in May, and the total institutional capital you've taken is about $40 million. That's fantastic. What has your investors excited about what you're doing at XOI?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. When we started in smart glasses. That was a big emphasis for us kind of starting the business, which was we're going to put these smart glasses on technicians' head and see what they see and hear what they hear. And there's been companies that have continued to do well in that. We pivoted away from it a long time ago because
Okay.
we've focused our business on mission critical remote work.
Yeah,
When
very
I and
good.
that's another way of saying that more simply is really hot, really uncomfortable, dirty, greasy situations where every minute costs a lot of money.
Sure.
And as it turns out, giving a technician a $2,000 pair of smart glasses and saying, don't break it, keep it charged, connect it to your
Yeah,
hotspot, do all the
right.
things in the environments we
Not
serve
real
is difficult.
effective. Yeah.
Yeah. So pivoting into kind of phones and tablets and focusing on
Mhm.
data science intelligence was important for us.
Mhm.
Our investors are excited because they believe that the opportunity not only to serve the technician in a meaningful way, but also the connection between people and equipment. What we've found over time is that the biggest names, OEMs that create this equipment in any market, whether it's
Mhm.
HVAC, electrical, plumbing, commercial
Right.
kitchen, telecommunications, they don't know what happens on a job site. They have very little visibility on the
Mm.
actual lifespan of their units, how
Mhm.
they actually break in the field and different environmental parallels. And so, what it became clear of kind of the first part of our mission statement is XOI is empowering a world in which people and equipment are connected. We purposely didn't say technician because what we
Mhm.
found is yes, the technician, they're always first, but also the sales folks, also
Yeah.
the business leaders, also the distributors, the OEMs that don't understand what's happening in the field.
Right.
We can empower them to be better, to make better equipment, to service their systems better, to have better warranty processes, because that connection between a person and the equipment is the critical connection that's not being made. So I think their excitement is aligned with ours, and that vision to be a system of intelligence between the curbs on the job site. There's really just a massive opportunity there, and as we
Mm.
continue to focus on the technician experience, we can get there.
That's great. So I want to hear a little bit, Aaron, about your journey to founding this company in 2013. You kind of talk
Hmm.
about coming from this, this blue collar environment and this blue collar work. So tell me a little bit about,
Yeah.
where you came from, and this is your second company that you founded. So yeah.
Yeah. So, it starts kind of growing up in Michigan. I was about as blue collar a kid as you would
Hmm.
expect. I remember early on working with my dad and my stepdad and on cars early on, I remember the first car. I remember asking my dad. I said, "Hey, 14 years old." I said, "How's that first car looking for me?" He goes, "It's looking about as good as you can go earn and make money to buy one."
Yeah, it sounds
And
like my
he had
parents.
and we at the size of 14-year-old, like, this is ridiculous. And of course now I'll be 40 in a month and a half. I
Yeah.
for a long time have appreciated very much that, and I'll instill that in my kids as well. You go work for what
Yep.
you get. It was an
I
important lesson.
agree. Yeah.
But the funny thing about that, and the blue collar tie into that, is he said that, and it will be a stick and we will work on it. So just to give you a sense of like the kind of mentality. I remember it's like, if you can't drive a stick, I mean, you can't be a man, right? I mean, that's the kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? It's just kind of this. Yeah. What do you mean you can't an automatic? What are you talking? You can't change your own
Yeah,
brakes. You
that's so
can't,
funny.
you can't work on your own
Yeah.
engine. Like, there's just kind of
Yeah.
mentality there. And so
Uh-huh.
I remember working on that car a lot with my dad. But
Yeah.
my bubble that I grew up in was that this is work you should be proud of, right?
Yeah.
And so this
Yeah.
really, the reason I go back that far to talk about XOI is that I was in that bubble where everyone I knew, my grandparents were farmers, my dad's in manufacturing,
Mhm.
my stepdad was in a big automotive business. All my aunts and uncles worked in the field. I was like,
Mhm.
this is how you make money in life,
Mhm.
right? You work with your hands, you make it happen, and something you should be proud of. What I realized as a geriatric millennial, apparently, this is what I
The
am, is
geriatric
that
millennial.
is that my generation was told a much different story,
Yeah.
and that it was like, hey, don't do those things. I mean, that's what losers
Mhm.
do. And that became evident to me as an employee, as an entrepreneur, that these folks were undervalued in so much that I couldn't find them. I couldn't hire them. I
Mm.
couldn't find people to do the work. And so this is what we're hearing more and more from our own customers is, I leave millions of dollars on the table every year because I just can't find people to do the work.
Ugh, God, that's
And
horrible. Yeah.
it's a
Right.
big deal for folks. So
Of course it is.
that was what we started the business on, was this idea
Mhm.
of, man, I've seen this in my experience. I see how the knowledge dissipation is going to continue to get worse. The skill
Mhm.
trade is going to continue to get worse. And our first attempt at trying to solve that was smart glasses. Google Glass had just came out, if you
Yeah,
remember, around like
right. Of course.
2012.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
had like Vuzix
Mhm.
700s. You had really needed something, and a lot of these companies are still doing amazing work today.
Mm.
But it was the spark to go, gosh, how do we connect that young guy that doesn't know anything and the older guy? And
Right.
if, how do we make them? How do we connect them? And then it kind of blossomed into a much
Yeah.
deeper, more evolved thing. But that's kind of the impetus, and
Mhm.
that was the experience I have. I spent my entire life in manufacturing and construction, and I tell people very honestly. I said, I got Josh quoted me saying this in his book, which was, I'm not especially passionate about HVAC, and I thought, ooh, my customers are going to hear that and be like, oh, geez, really? I'm especially passionate about blue collar people, and I think
Yeah.
that is
Mhm.
absolutely true.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
happened that HVAC was a big part of where we landed and expanded, and I've learned a lot about it. But I
Mhm.
think to some of the best people on the planet, they deserve to have good solutions. And my personal why is dictated behind that need to not see people like my grandfather, my dad at
Yeah.
60, which is not old, barely able to walk, bad backs. They destroyed their
Jesus.
bodies
It's
when the
horrible.
talent they built was here, but they had to express it here, right?
Yeah.
Because they had no
Yeah.
other option. And so, as we think about this new generation, as we think about changing that paradigm, that's important to me, and that's why we continue to try to solve this problem.
Carol Schultz here. Thanks for watching this excerpt from Authentically Successful. The conversation doesn't end there. So if you want to hear this episode in full and all my conversations with many other successful founders and CEOs, please visit verticalelevation.com/podcast.